And now on Whose Views, Paul and Third Doctor Ian take a look at UNIT and the classic years before it all went to pot. I'd like to take this opportunity, if I may, to wish JT a speedy recovery and also to remind him that he owes me £20.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you again.
Hello. Hello. Good to see you. Good to see you. Confession time. This is pre-record.
Yes.
Because with JT's absence, some things are still having to be worked around and fixed and things like that. But we don't want to come back and then just disappear again periodically. So where we can't do a live show, we're going to try and fit it in with pre-records and special content and things like that. So hopefully you'll still like it. Well, that's what we're hoping anyway, isn't it?
That's what we are hoping, definitely. Yeah. So tonight for our recorded show, we're going to cover a topic that's quite close to both our hearts, particularly Ian's being the Third Doctor there. But we're going to talk about UNIT from the original series, which is a great period of the show, great concept, which we all love as fans. A fantastic idea from Derek Sherwin, who claims he came up with it, but. I'm not sure if he did or not. We'll maybe have to think about that. But
it's probably one of those things that's lost in time, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, he invented everything, didn't he? Including the Time Lords and stuff like that.
Pretty much.
Story, right?
Yeah. And I think in the true spirit of UNIT, this video is being recorded in 1972, or is it 1980? I can't remember.
Yes. You can work out the UNIT dating. That's a show in itself. I think Ian.
That is yeah.
That's a 4-hour show with a flip chart and a slide rule, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and a calculator, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And then people would talk to us about tangents. Yeah, that'd be tangent.
Yeah. What us going on a tangent? Surely not. Yeah. Well, there'll probably be lots of them in the show as well. Yeah.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
So UNIT then. UNIT. How far, Paul? How far would you go back?
Well, it's interesting because if you look at we always claim that it was Invasion where it kind of started, really, with the Brigadier being promoted in Invasion and forming UNIT. But there's lots of seeds placed in Doctor Who way before that, I think, to be honest. I know Doctor Who in the 70s was very much kind of a mixture of Doctor Who and Quatermass, and that's where the kind of army thing came from a little bit as well. But if you go back to, I think, to the War Machines, which is probably the first 60s modern day story, really, apart from a few places they went to in the Dalek Master Plan and stuff like that. You don't know the time really when it was, but that was kind of modern times. But in the War Machines, the Doctor becomes a bit of an establishment figure, a bit like the way the Third Doctor did, a bit like in the kind of Pertwee era, So he worked with Sir Charles Summer, worked with the army. So you can see the seeds there, can't you, of how that kind of relationship almost started a little bit, don't you think?
You do get those wonderful images of Hartnell. I mean, it's supposed to be a war machine, isn't it? But he's walking towards the camera with his holding his lapels and standing firm and everything, and soldiers running behind him. And you do get that Doctor, and there's military there. You do get that imagery. I mean, I think now, and here's a tangent, and I don't want to give them ideas, but you know the way that everything was trying to link everything to the old series, even though you never needed to know anything about the old series. RTD couldn't leave it alone. I'm just wondering how long it is before they decide that, I don't know, the freedom fighters in Dalek Invasion of Earth were the remnants of a UNIT group or something like that. They'll try and stitch it in somewhere. It wouldn't surprise me. And if that's given them an idea, then I am forever sorry. But
unfortunately, I think they've almost done that a little bit, haven't they? Kind of trying to get, when they did it, was it in Flux with Jodie? They tried to do that a little bit, didn't they? With Peter Bathurst and going back, and that was up with you hear the Brigadier's voice, Corporal Lethbridge Stewart in the background dealing with something. It was like, really, what? That was really that made dating even more confusing, didn't it? Let's be honest.
He was never, ever, ever a corporal. He was officer corps. He went to Sandhurst, and he was started from the officer corps. He didn't go through the ranks. He would have been too old.
Yeah, he had friends in high places. Put it that way. He had contacts.
Well, very probably. I mean, if he'd gone through the ranks, that's 7 ranks, and it would have taken him the best part of 22 years, which is a standard army engagement. And by that point, no. By the time he was in Web of Fear and was a colonel, he'd already done some time. So So War Machines. Yeah, I'll accept War Machines. I think that's Proto-UNIT. There's a term.
It definitely is, and it's lovely. It's lovely to see Hartnell in that position, because he's never really done that before, has he? Really, and it does really fit. It feels a bit like what we're going to get, in the later 60s and into the 70s with Pertwee. But it's a lovely setting to have him in there, and he fits in really well, I think. Even though he fits in, Hartnell does, but the Doctor is a bit incongruous at the same time, which he always does, which is lovely.
Yeah.
But the Web of Fear as well, that's another kind of seed of the start of UNIT, with the Colonel being there. And what is interesting about Web of Fear in that respect, at that point, we don't have the affection for the Brigadier or the Colonel at that point as we do later on, because in that, he's a suspect. He could be working for the Great Intelligence, all that kind of stuff. So we don't know who he is. So there's not that if you're watching an Order at the time, I mean, you wouldn't know what was coming next and how attached we would become to him as a fantastic character. And that's one thing about classic Who unit, I think, is wonderful, that all the characters, like when we get to the Brigadier properly and Sergeant Benton and Captain Yates, even Corporal Palmer, who's one of my favourites. So one of my favourite lines is "Holy Moses" from the Three Doctors. Fantastic stuff. But it's kind of, it is very much a character-driven show, and they're really interesting characters. Whereas the new unit version is all a bit faceless for me, to be honest. But
they're a bit bland and one-dimensional, aren't they? And I mean, I'm sure they think that, oh look, we've made it multinational. We've made it, there's all these people from different countries. I mean, you go to Battlefield and they had Zabredniev, and the Brigadier was a woman, and it was a black woman in charge of UNIT. And you know what? We accepted it and we didn't mind it. It was all right, actually. I didn't mind Bambera, really.
Neither did I. I like Angela Bush, a great actor, a great performance, and I think we just accepted it, like you said, and we got on with it. And it didn't have any fanfare. We just accepted it, and that's where it should be. That's what the problem with all this forced agenda stuff,
It was 1989. It was about to go into the 90s, that decade where sort of all this kind of thing just seemed to balance out. I mean, I know the 90s had horrendous times. There were horrendous incidents, and things like that, as every decade has. But the 90s were just that period of calm before the 2000s started getting a little bit cultish, which led into the 2010s. Then that was it. It was all gone to shit after that. But the 1990s and Battlefield typified that. We just accepted it and we didn't mind. It wasn't, she's the first woman, she's the first black woman, he's the first.
She was just the new Brigadier, simple as that.
And we looked forward to that Brigadier meeting our other Brigadier. And it just didn't matter. But in Web of Fear, you're absolutely right. We treated him with suspicion, and he treated the Doctor with suspicion as well. And I liked how Terrance Dicks's novelization described that meeting. It was like the famous meeting of other people, like meeting Dr. Livingston, wasn't it? Did he use Dr. Livingston? I think
he did.
Or Lawrence of Arabia. I can't remember which one it was, but. He likened it to that, and it really was. I mean, that's a pairing that's lasted decades, hasn't it?
Yeah,
really?
It's such a tragedy that when they recovered Web of Fear, which is wonderful, a great recovery. I was so chuffed when it came back, but the fact that the episode that involves the Brigadier or the Colonel at this point meeting him for the first time, it's a shame that one wasn't found, because the animation's appalled. I can get that's a story for another time.
Well, I mean, the rumours are that it was. I mean, the chap that found them, he did say, and I can't see why he would lie on this. He did say he had all 12 episodes, didn't he? And that episode disappeared. And if you were going to pinch an episode of Web of Fear, there is no more seminal episode of Web of Fear than episode 3, where the Doctor first meets the Brigadier, more so than episode 6. And for that to happen, it was tragic. I think fandom in general, and the casual viewing public in general was robbed of that. And whoever's got it, somebody has it.
Well, they have to have the Doctor knowledge to know which episodes to pilfer, didn't they? Let's be honest, because not we would have no idea which episode was significant unless you had that knowledge as a fan. You know, it's crazy. Yeah.
And you must have known that he'd found the others. Yeah. Because, you know, the news to us came out of nowhere, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It just came out of nowhere. And it was a magical time. It's interesting with Troughton because Enemy of the World was really good too. That first episode is like a Bond film. And seeing the Doctor come out, and you were wondering as he went down the beach, like Reginald Perrin, gradually dropping his clothes everywhere. You were thinking, where is he going to stop here? You know.
Well, luckily you had those wonderful long johns on that you had, which was spared our blushes on that one. But it was a lovely moment of them swimming in his long johns. That was great. But I must admit, the Web of Fear, though, I was really chuffed when that came back, and it didn't disappoint for me. Only disappointment was that part 3 was missing. That was, you know, but
But that's it with the Troughton stories that have been recovered, isn't it? You know, Tomb of the Cybermen, Web of Fear, and Enemy of the World. None of them have disappointed.
No,
you know, you're talking, if we assume for a second and we count Web of Fear as 6 episodes, even though obviously that's 12 episodes and another 4 from the very early 90s. You know, 16 episodes and all of them absolute gold. You know, that says a lot for the 6.5 shillings that they had per episode or thereabouts.
Well, part of it's to do with, part of it to do with the fact that Troughton's such a great actor, and you can't really recreate his acting talent in an animation or a reconstruction, really, because even with the AI stuff coming along now, it's not quite there yet. I can see the potential there to get maybe replace some of the animations with the AI animation would be great, but it's not there yet. But Troughton's such a, when you see him in the proper episodes like Web of Fear, Enemy of the World, like you said, Tomb of Cybermen, Ice Warrior, stuff like that, it's wonderful performance, and you lose all that, you know, if you're in animation, really. But
I think AI is the way forward. I don't like the animations the way they went. I didn't mind some of them. I think the last animation I really enjoyed was Power of the Daleks. The earlier ones, Invasion, Moonbase, I really enjoyed. But I think they've got very pretentious. I think they've felt that they've got carte blanche to change things. I know they did that a little bit with Abominable Snowmen, which was a shame. And they shouldn't. They should respect the source material. But then it's a very New Who approach, isn't it? Not respecting the source material when it comes to the classic series. And it's just a shame because they ultimately defeat the point of doing it in the first place.
It is. The whole point for me was the fact that they recreate it to try and make it as faithful as you can in order to recreate something that's gone missing, you know? And then who's it aimed for? Because it's really all the diehards like us who really want to buy it and want a decent quality product, but they don't produce that. They do it on the cheap. And the last one, the Savages, was rotten, really was. It's flat.
Their audience
and I quite like the
is people
Savages,
like
you
us.
know? But
their audience is people like us, and they want to sell it, but they don't make it for people like us. So people like us won't buy it, and then they'll say they're not popular anymore. I think it's more the idiots that are producing it. But I think AI, you need to get to a point, and it'll be very, very quick when you consider how it's gone in the last 18 months. You need AI, and you can feed in images and tell it to use the images as base information and work off that. But you need AI to be educated by looking at previous episodes and say, focus on Troughton, look at him, the way he moves, the facial expressions, get his mannerisms and everything else, and then develop your own model. And then apply it to the missing story. And I think that's based on these telesnaps as guides and maybe 3D set designs so they know where they can move and everything else, which all exist. So
I think though, you're right. I think you're right. What's going to happen is we'll have to buy them all again. Like always, we'll have to buy them for the third or fourth time for whatever.
On the new format, which is 3D crystal, and we have to have 3D headsets, and that's the only way to watch them. But yeah,
we're going on a bit of a tangent again. Now we're doing a tangent.
Well, it happens. It's fun though, isn't it?
That's tangent
Web
one.
of Fear. We see not UNIT, but we see soldiers again, and it seems like they've been drawn from various. In fact, there's a comment in, I think, episode 1 or 2, where they're in the recreation room and they're talking about how they're all. I think they call it a Right Fred Carno's army, don't they? They're all pulled from different arms of the army. So they're just all there for different reasons, or for different skills that they can offer. And they're all trapped in the underground, which is wonderfully claustrophobic. How they did that on such small sets is incredible, I think.
Well, it looks like, because it is one set and they've just rearranged it and changed the names of the stations and stuff like that, which is a fantastic initiative for them to do that. But it's due to the fact that Douglas Camfield is such a great director. I mean, he really makes a huge difference to this. If this was directed by Richard Martin, we'd be in trouble. But it's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. But
I think Douglas Camfield is probably the best director Doctor Who has ever had. I will go out there and say that. And there are some fantastic directors, and kudos to all of them. But I think Douglas Camfield, brutally cut short way too early, but I think Douglas Camfield was just in the same way as I would say, for me, as much as I'm a Pertwee fan, I think possibly the best producer was probably Hinchcliffe, and probably the best script editor, sorry, Uncle Terence, but was probably Robert Holmes. I mean, that's, but Camfield, absolutely.
I wish Camfield had done more, because there's so many great stories he could have directed, and sadly didn't, because he was obviously very poorly. But it's a shame he didn't direct more in seasons, the Pertwee years, particularly after Inferno, would have been wonderful, or even more early Hartnells, because things like Master Plan are wonderful, and Time Meddler, Crusade, amazing stuff, But,
I mean, it's such a shame that there's, you say Dalek Master Plan, it's such a shame that there's episodes missing there, isn't it? It's tragic, really. And you've always got to hold out hope, haven't you?
Yes.
Hold out
always,
hope. But Camfield, and like you say, it was such a shame that he was ill and died so young. But it's a masterclass. And of course, then we have Invasion.
Before we get to Invasion, I'm going to point something out of the Web of Fear that I noticed. It made me laugh. A few years ago, I'd watched it, then I watched Terror of the Zygons. And in Terror of the Zygons, you might remember there's a soldier who kept saying, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, to the brig. He's in Web of Fear. Yeah, that's the one. And he's in Web of Fear as well. So he's one of the guys who he says, I think he says something like, I'm on another job, sergeant, or whatever, and he's gets told to send, I think, Jamie and Victoria to like a room to wait for the captain, and he's the same actor who's in Terror of the Zygons.
So he will have died in this story then, wouldn't he? He would have died in Web of Fear, because pretty much most of them did, didn't they?
Most of them did, so he returns. So obviously, maybe he only got wounded. You never know. But
it wasn't Weems, was it?
No, it wasn't Weems. No. Yeah.
So I remember from that story that the guy that played Sergeant Arnold, he went on to play a character called Carney in Crossroads.
That's right. I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, Jack Wolgar. Yeah,
really good actor. I saw him recently in an episode on one of the cable channels of The Likely Lads as well. He was in that for a couple of episodes. He played like a family member of, I think, James Bolam's family. I think he was at a funeral in it. It was quite interesting. But
okay, I recognised, when the novelisation of Web of Fear came out. It was way before we had any reference material as fans. You're talking mid-70s. You had nothing apart from the 10th anniversary special from a couple of years before. But that didn't have actor listings or anything like that. It just had those like little one-paragraph synopses. But I recognised, because my parents would watch Crossroads, and that was the time when this Carney character was in it with his with his lassie type dog, I think it was. I can't remember what that kind of dog is now, and I love dogs. That's terrible, isn't it? But he had a dog like that, I'm sure he did. And I recognised the drawing of Sergeant Arnold on the front of Web of Fear as being that guy from Crossroads. I was convinced it was, and of course it was. And that's testimony to the cover artist, of course.
Well, the cover, the cover is iconic, and I've probably spent more time than I should have done just staring at it and looking at the image of the Yeti and Troughton and Sergeant Arnold and the Yeti's eyes, all that amazing stuff, and then the web at the back and everything. Really great image. Yeah,
it's an Achilles, isn't it?
I think it is. Yeah. Great artist.
It's got his style. I mean, it's just one of those all-time classics, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It really is. But that was a good spot. That link between that and Terror of the Zygons, good spot.
Yeah. Well, I could have watched the episodes so many times. I tend to spot actors because the guy who plays what's the Welsh character called in Web of Fear again? I forgot his name. Evans.
Yeah.
I'm watching Shadow at the moment, and Evans is one of the scientists that Skagra, where they're on the long beards. He's one of them because I checked him in the credits. I recognise his voice. And it's Evans. There we are. So I like to spot actors who come back in the series, and when they do it in modern Who as well, when they come from classic, I love all that. It's great stuff. Yeah,
I love the Evans character, an absolute out Howard, and he's not afraid to admit it.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then he gets.
And I love that. I love that bit when Jamie thinks he's on his side, but I'm off. No, I'm going. See ya. It's great.
Brilliant. So Invasion then.
Invasion. I love the Invasion. I really do. And
another Camfield.
Yeah, another Camfield. Some great iconic Doctor Who moments with the Cybermen, St. Paul's. But this is when we get a taste of more unit characters. We've got the Brigadier being promoted. We have Corporal Benton in this one as well, which is really nice. And we have Jimmy, Captain Turner as well, which is quite a good character. I like him. Yeah.
I like Captain Turner. Yeah, is a good one, definitely. I love the Invasion. I absolutely love the Invasion. Tobias Vaughan, what a character! Yeah. What a character! Kevin Stoney is was such a good actor.
He's such a good villain when he plays Mavic Chen and plays Tobias Vaughan. I mean, it's a great performance. Yeah. And he's in various. I've seen him in lots of other things as well over the years, and I think he plays the odd villain in Tomorrow People and stuff like that. Great character, wonderful. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
and the way that the Cybermen are drip fed. I mean, it's the end of episode 4 out of 8 before you see them, isn't it? And you're just left wondering, really. But no, I love this story. But this is obviously the first proper UNIT story because this is where UNIT are introduced to the Doctor. And,
now, getting the UNIT dating at this point. Now, this always gets me when you watch Web of Fear. Just to jump back a little bit, Travers says that it was like 40 years ago. I think they said it was. We make it 1935. So, and I think there's a reference to Jamie the Doctor. It's 4 years later for the invasion. Is that right?
So that makes it
1979. So at that point, I think Sergeant Benton was selling second-hand cars or something. Was there? Sort of contradiction there. Yeah.
What you need really, because I accept that as well. It's 1979 because those datings are implicit. So it'd be good if on one of the TV screens in the aeroplane where the UNIT have got their mobile HQ. It'd be great if somebody just had on there Destiny of the Daleks, because that was 1979, wasn't it? If they were just watching that in black and white, it'd be great. Yeah. But I accept that. I think Mordrin Undead. It's easier to think that it was some kind of time faffery by the Black Guardian.
Possibly, yeah.
And he was trying to do various bits and pieces to throw everything off. Or something like that. That's all I can think of, really, because UNIT dating is wrong. I mean, you look forward. I mean, even Sarah in Pyramids of Mars says that she's from 1980.
Yeah.
And
they should be watching the Leisure Hive at that point if they're watching.
Well, absolutely, with a new theme tune and everything. And
yeah.
I mean, it could. No, it couldn't really. You can't get everything between Invasion and Pyramids of Mars in 1 year. But then it depends what Sarah's referring to when she says I'm from 1980, because if the last story that she was with the Doctor was in 1980s Earth, she could just say I'm from 1980. It doesn't necessarily mean that's where she jumped on board with the Doctor. I don't know. I'm stringing it out a little bit, but yeah,
I know what you mean. It's like I'm from the 80s, kind of, rather than specifically 1980, if you know what I mean, kind of thing, almost. Yeah.
Because of course, then again, we have Terror of the Zygons, and the Brigadier says to the Prime Minister, "Absolutely, madam."
Yeah. So
And
that could have been Margaret Thatcher. There we are. Or
1979.
Yeah, there we are. Yeah. After she stole the milk from the children, remember? So, yes.
As opposed to Starmer, who's stolen everything else.
Exactly. Yeah. I was going to say that going back to the unit characters, Captain Turner, I got the Savages animation, and he's in that. And there's on the commentary, there's an interview. They're talking about various connections to Doctor Who, because the lady's in it as well. She's in the Romans. I've forgotten the actor's name, but Richard Sidaway, or Sidaway, if I pronounce his name, he apparently was interesting. I never knew this. I don't know if it's actually true or it's just speculative. But I think they had asked him to come back for the Pertwee season 7 to be a regular captain for Nick Courtney and for the Brigadier. Which I'd never heard before. I thought it was an interesting theory that they could have done that. Maybe they did, because obviously they eventually invited back John Levine to be Benton again. So maybe there was a bit of talk about that. But I think he said he was unavailable due to another theatre job, and that's why we had these different captains every week for season 7, just about.
I quite liked Captain Monroe in
Yes,
Spearhead.
I did. Yeah.
But nothing against him or ultimately Captain Yates. I quite liked Jimmy. I thought he was all right and very well played, and bounced off Isabel Watkins' character. The Isabel Watkins character really well, who I also liked. I thought that the actors in Invasion were so good. You could not have a better intro proper for UNIT than this. It's just wonderful. It's wonderful television, even now. Just been watching it recently. Never, ever, ever fail to love it. I love the audio. As well. It's just wonderful. I love the audio of the book. So the soundtrack of the episodes, the audio of the book, and the actual show.
And the incidental music is superb as well. There's Don Harper's music that is superb as well. Really good stuff.
That military riff that you always get when the troops are forming up, or whether they're driving into the aircraft or anything like that. Wonderful. Wonderful.
And the cyber sting you get quite a lot as well when you see a Cyberman and stuff. That's superb. Really well done. Yeah. And the Invasion Cyberman is one of my favourite looks of Cyberman as well, which I love, that sleek look. It's really good. I mean, I like the Earthshock one, to be fair. I mean, looking up at it, why not? Let's just grab it here. Whilst we're talking about it. Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing, isn't it? Like when Packer finally loses it, and he's trying to get his troops, and that just appears on screen.
Yeah, that's superb. It's wonderfully... It's simplistic. It's not too fussy. I agree. I love the Earthshot ones as well, but this one's actually quite. It's less is more in this case. You know what I mean? It just works really well.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And I was really pleased that, because my favourite has to be Revenge of the Cybermen. I've got to be honest. I love that cyber helmet, which is very, very, very. I'm getting my angles wrong here, aren't I? Which is very, very, very close to this.
Yeah, it's just got added extra bits on the handles, isn't it? Really means.
This is a bit more pronounced, but not much. And obviously, they've got the serrated piping for here.
Yeah.
But and the gun in the head instead of just the light. But it's this then is like almost peak Cyberman, really, because it's a lovely and the side profile as well is just Yeah,
it's lovely.
It's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah. Great cyber design. Yeah.
It's like another show and tell, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, yeah.
I'll get me Cybermats next.
Well, I'm looking forward to the Revenge Cyberman set coming out with the Cybermat and the B&M range that's coming out. I think in the next couple of weeks. I think, or maybe next month. You know, but
it's October, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
I do. I've got the original 3, surrounded actually by models of the Invasion Cybermen anyway. But it'll be nice to get a few more of those Revenge Cybermen. There were really good design. I mean, they were the first time as a kid that I actually saw the Cybermen on TV. We're on a tangent again, aren't we?
Yeah,
and I just was in awe of them. These massive giants that were bulletproof and everything. It was amazing.
Yeah. It's funny. I sometimes find them, quite sad about the fact that Pertwee never met the Cybermen in his era, and it's probably because of this story, Invasion. They never met them because it was too soon to meet them again. Really, to be honest. And it's such an epic story in itself, 8 episodes long. So it's a shame because it'd be nice to have. Because I always get very excited about Carver Monsters when you see them on the blurry screen, and it's an Invasion helmet. That's a lovely moment. I love that. Yeah. It
is, isn't it? Yeah, I love that. So that was the Invasion.
Yeah. You mentioned Captain Monroe just a minute ago, and I quite like Captain Monroe as well, and Captain Hawkins when we get to Silurians. And it's interesting they had, because Captain Monroe survives Spearhead. He doesn't get injured or killed, unlike Captain Hawkins. Spoiler. But it's interesting that they kept changing them and didn't try and get a regular actor like they eventually did in Terror of the Autons. But I did like both of those, Captain Monroe and Captain Hawkins.
Yeah. Brigadier saying, "How did all those reporters get here?" "Don't know, sir. They just appeared like swallows in the spring."
Lovely. Yeah, that lovely tracking shot as they go up the corridor. That's brilliant. Yeah.
Everything about that. Well, it's well documented in the annals of fandom.
Yeah.
That is.
Or the annals of Hugh's Views as well.
Yeah. It is the best story ever in here. And that's the only place it needs to be, really.
But Derek Martinez, or Derek Martinus, as Tom would pronounce it, is another great director as well, and he directs Spearhead beautifully. He really does. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I pretty much. It obviously benefits from being on film, and it would lose a lot if it was done on videotape. You do notice it is a little bit of a jar going from Spearhead episode 4 to the Silurians episode 1. It is a bit of a jar, but it was one of those little happy accidents. Would I have liked all of Pertwee and all of Tom Baker all done on film? Of course I would. Of course I would. Can you imagine the upscaling we'd be getting on our Blu-rays?
Super.
It'd be off the charts, wouldn't it? But we've got Spearhead, and let's face it, it could have been the only one ever on film, could have been the Dominators. So let's be grateful. It was actually
that would have made the Dominators any better, to be fair, though.
But first Pertwee story, first regular unit story, first colour story, and it was all on film, captured on film perfectly. I mean, you can't fault that. But it's a good unit story, and in a sense, it follows on from Invasion. And it has that face-off with the Autons, wonderful battle with the Autons, in exactly the same place that it had the battle with the Cybermen in Invasion.
Which I meant to say, actually, if you look at Web of Fear with the Yeti in episode 4 and the bit in Invasion, episode 8, because it's directed by the same director, it's almost choreographed exactly the same way, which is lovely. But... and I think obviously Derek Martinez was looking at Invasion as well when he did the...
Very probably.
I think that the same production unit managers on it was Chris Dolly John. I think was on that and on Invasion. So I think that's why the location was probably the same location. I think. Yeah.
I think the frustrating thing though is if Martinez was watching Invasion to get ideas, he probably enjoyed watching all 8 episodes, which is more than
which is really frustrating.
Not wanting to waste time and go backwards, but there's a particular scene you like in episode 8 of the Invasion, isn't there, Paul?
Oh yeah. Well, there's many scenes. Yeah, there's many I like in Invasion because there's so many great moments with all the characters. But it's the bit where Troughton, after Tobias Vaughan has been killed by the Cybermen, the Doctor tries to make his escape, and then the lone Cyberman fires at him with that great gun that looks like one of the weapons from from Dalek Master Plan that the SSS use, I think. But it's a great prop, and then they shoot at him 3 or 4 times, and Troughton's comic yelps as he gets shot in the arse is fantastic. Absolutely love it. Superb. Yeah.
You can't
Comic
imagine
performance. Superb.
Pertwee,
Yeah.
You can't imagine Pertwee doing that with the Autons down the same alleyway.
No, you can't. You can't. No. As much as Pertwee's comic timing is as good as Troughton's, I think he played it too straight to do that. I think maybe in Spearhead he may have done it because he had some comic moments like in the shower and the car and stuff like that. Things like that. Yeah, but
So we've got colour telly.
Yeah,
we've got the unit organisation firmly planted front and centre. The Doctor's officially employed by them, although not for money. He doesn't want money. He's working with Liz Shaw. He's working with the wonderful Caroline John, Liz Shaw. I mean, if only we'd got more of her. Nothing against Katie. Nothing against Katie at all. But there we go. So we had a few fleeting episodes with Caroline John, but we're in caves, aren't we? And we've got another captain, as you said. We've got Captain Hawkins.
Captain Hawkins, played by the wonderful Paul Darrow. Yes,
yeah.
We've also got another sergeant. Is it Sergeant Hart? Is the other one who's in?
That's
Silurians.
right.
Yeah.
I love the line in this where Major Baker has, despite having a wounded arm, is managed to overpower Sergeant Baker and escape
with a karate chop.
And he's getting a dressing down from the Brigadier.
Yeah.
And he said he couldn't use his arm, sir. Well, he seems to have used it on you, all right. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just like, my God. You know, you can imagine at that point Sergeant Hart's testicles are slowly withdrawing up into his body as he's got that dressing down from the Brigadier. Wonderful stuff.
That actor, again, to point out actors again, because it's one of my favourite things. I've forgotten the actor's name, but he who plays Sergeant Hart is the commandant of the prison in the War Games as well. So
right, okay.
The one that Troughton comes in, he's very boisterous and says to him, I'm here from the Home Office, to expect your prison and all that stuff is wonderful stuff. And he's the one that gets knocked out by Zoe with a vase, which is a lovely moment.
Right.
So, yeah.
You are very good at that. You are.
I wish I could remember his name. I've not got my program guide handy to check, but we should run a caption under the bottom once we've finished this and just tell us what it is.
Well, yeah. I'll do some research. I'll do some research.
Yeah.
But I Silurians is a wonderful story. It's a wonderful story. It really is, and it takes us into Ambassadors of Death, doesn't it? Where we've now not really got any unit captains at all, have we? We've just got
but we've got the return of the wonderful now Sergeant Benton, who's been promoted for the first time. Yeah, so great.
And we see 2 Sergeant Bentons, don't we?
When we get to the Inferno, we get the fascist version, which is superb, and the fascist version of the Brig and Liz Shaw as well, which is wonderful. Yeah,
I'll have to see if we're allowed to use that word or if I have to go beep across the top of it. I don't know what YouTube's restrictions are.
I forgot about that. Okay, he's the one with the eye patch then. Just to refer to him, the eye patch wearing jewel scarring Brigadier. Yeah.
Go. But I mean, he turns into a Primord, doesn't he? So John Levine really had his acting chops tested, didn't he? In that.
Well, what was good about that? Because it's a parallel universe, in that you could kill off or do something horrible to the regulars because it doesn't really affect them in the real world, which is a great take on that. And you really felt for the characters, and that cliffhanger at the end of 6 into 7 with the lavas coming in and they're all going to be, that's it, that's the world finished in the parallel universe. It's a great moment. Yeah, super.
But I think, testimony to Nick Courtney's acting, because he portrays a brigade leader who turns out to be somebody who panics.
Yeah, he's a coward as well. Yeah.
And full well our Brigadier, by his own admission, he'd say as many things, but he was definitely a lead from the front person. Was our brigadier. But it's great, and the relationship that the brigadier is building with Pertwee's doctor through this as well. They have their flare-ups, and then that it affects nothing. They're just friends, like we see as we get into Inferno right at the very end, where they have that blow up. The doctor disappears off and turns up at the top of a rubbish tip, and they walk off with his arm around him, and everything's right again. It's just.
Well, I love the fact when the brigadier does get his own back on the doctor after him insulting him before he leaves, and he gives him a talking down as well, which is, and Pertwee's recovery from that is brilliant. Really nice comic moment. Yeah, lovely.
But they're just, because you've got superb actors. You've got superb actors who at this point even aren't even at the top of their game. Yeah. But they're still streets ahead of anything we've seen in recent years. It's just.
And there's one thing I really like about this, because you get different versions of the brigadier as the years go on, and I really like this straight-laced brigadier because it's a good. When he plays it really straight, it's really good. I think he's very good as a comic actor as well. There's some lovely comic moments that come later on in the Pertwee years and into Tom years as well. But I love him when he's really deadly straight and deadly serious and deadpan. It's brilliant. Works so well.
Yeah. Liberty Hall, Dr. Tyler. Liberty Hall. So we've got a new series. We've got the Autons back. We've got Katie Manning, who the Brigadier has assigned to the Doctor, much to his disgust. A ham-fisted bun vendor. Who puts extinguisher all over the Doctor's prototype dematerialization circuit.
I love that line that Pertwee's got, that only access to the laboratory is the tea lady and the brigadier's personal staff. That's the only people allowed in there. It makes me laugh every time.
Like the tea lady in those years, the tea lady could go anywhere. Probably had the highest security clearance of anywhere.
Because you had the tea and the buns, that was it. So,
but UNIT begin to develop, don't they? They've lost the grey uniforms. They're now proper army khaki. Probably the right thing to do. I think they look equally good. I didn't mind the grey uniforms, but they weren't really
like
good.
Them as well, but Nick Courtney wasn't keen on them, was he? He didn't like them very much, but
No. And crap for blending in if you're in the foliage and there you are standing there looking grey. Yeah. So they're in proper combat fatigues and all that kind of thing, and have an absolute cracking pitch battle with the Autons at the end, which is very well choreographed. Again.
Well, it's right, and the stunt, some of the stunts in that are great, especially the bit where the master gets the technician who falls down from the gantry of the radio telescope area. That's superb, really well done.
Well, the way the master first gets him, all you see is the master's face close up there.
Brilliant stunt, and really well done, really well done.
Yeah.
And then we get the arrival of course, Captain Mike Yates. Who was there for the love interest for Joe, which I never really believed, to be fair. But that's on
in fairness, they didn't really string it out much, did they? I mean, Curse of Peladon, I'm all dolled up for a night out on the town with Mike Yates, and you whisked me off in this thing. Aside from that, really, it was, I mean, he obviously tried to impress her with his cocoa making skills that almost got her killed. Not the best way to make a first impression, is it? To be honest.
Well, I must admit, I think I've met Richard Franklin a few times. I had in the past. God rest him. I know he passed away a couple of years ago, but I was never really, I'm not a favourite. I liked him as a person, but I never really liked him much as a character.
No,
he was. I don't think he was as strong a character as the others. I think I preferred, to be honest, John Levine, and John Levine wasn't really. He started off as an extra, and then did really well as a kind of supporting artist, really effectively. But I think he's a better actor than Richard Franklin, to be honest. But
I couldn't see John Levine's Sergeant Benton being brainwashed into the plot for the Green Death. But I could see Yates, and the same with Invasion of the Dinosaurs and everything else. And it was nice that he got redemption at the end in his last appearance. That was good. I'm glad he got redemption in Planet of the Spiders. But I mean, it was interesting with Sergeant Benton because you don't go from a sergeant to a warrant officer and because he was Sergeant Major Benton, blimey, he probably got right up to WO1, Warrant Officer Class 1. So you know, it was interesting how the Brigadier managed to wangle that one. But you know, it's science fiction, isn't it? So it can do absolutely anything.
And it's a different organisation. They're not explained because UNIT didn't have a rank that would fill that. That's why he jumped or something like that. Some
there'd be a colour sergeant or a staff sergeant, depending what you are.
Yeah.
So fair dues. But I mean, I think Captain Yates, I liked him most in Mind of Evil, where he really goes through the mill. He really goes through the mill, like, you know, all sorts, beaten up, shot in the hand, all that kind of thing. And in the Demons, his good rapport with Benton in the Demons is a joy, you know. And the way at the end, fancy a dance, sir? No, I'd rather have a pint. You know, that with Nick Courtney. I like that. So for me, Mind of Evil and the Demons, both in the same season, of course. But
I'd agree on that. I think they're both strong performances from Captain Yates in that, definitely. And he does. To be fair, he doesn't appear all that much, does he? He's got there's lots of gap. He's there one story, the next he's there for the Time Monster, I think, and Day of the Daleks and things like that. But he doesn't. He's not in the Three Doctors, for instance, which is really weird. You know?
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? Yeah. You would, if you're watching it regularly, you would be thinking at that point, well, where's Yates gone? Where is he?
Yeah.
You know, perhaps they thought that with Troughton knocking around and unit soldiers everywhere, it was perhaps too many people. But it is an odd omission, to be honest.
It may have been the fact originally. I think they're going to have Jamie in the mix as well, because there's going to be something about Jamie and Joe having a bit of a romantic relationship in it. You know what Fraser? We know what Fraser's like, and then allegedly. He likes the ladies, but then allegedly, then you have there would have been the second Doctor with his companion, the third Doctor his companion, and then having that link as well with Benton and the second Doctor from Invasion was a good way of connecting that as well, wasn't it? So he probably was a bit redundant, to be honest, you know. But
very probably. But I mean, this whole season. This particular season, starting with Terror of the Autons, you know, you've got stories like Mind of Evil and everything, but of course we've got Roger Delgado running through like words on a stick of rock. He goes through all of it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And I'm fond of all the stories, but of course we've got an off-world story here, haven't we? With Colony in Space that literally has the Brigadier at the beginning and the end, and a very strange materialization of the TARDIS.
Yeah, I'm so glad in that story the Brigadier moves, otherwise he'd be squashed by the TARDIS if he hadn't. You know,
but it was good that they kept the same dematerialization type and noise as they did with the Time Lord hovering in midair at the start of Terror of the Autons.
I
think it was obviously a creative decision. This is different.
Well, I remember reading someone's in some review somewhere whether that Time Lord was wearing a TARDIS or something. I don't know about that one. Really. But a TARDIS belt, who knows what? Yeah.
Probably his hat.
Yeah.
His
bowler
hat. Probably.
Or the whole outfit of their belt, that's a disguise of the TARDIS. That's it. Yeah.
But we have with UNIT, we have some fantastic set pieces here. Of course, the Mind of Evil, the attack on the castle is just, my God, that is cinematic scale, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
There's
the only issue I have with that is when they're filming it. I remember watching a documentary about it, and Timothy Coombe talking about how they shot it. And sometimes you can see they've changed the actors round to be the soldiers and then the prison officers and stuff. And if you look closely, you can see it's the same people moved round. You know, I think they had trouble on location because they had to use people the stage management, like production crew and stuff, to play parts in order to get the shots in, basically. So
yeah. But I mean, if you're watching it in 1971 on a small black and white telly or a proto-color telly, then you're not going to notice, are you? Because you're seeing it.
I've noticed. I've watched it 400 times. That's why I've noticed, probably.
But I mean, again, set pieces. We have some fantastic ones. You know, we have them all the way through. Obviously, we don't have them in Doomsday Weapon, but then we come right up to the end with the unit battle against Bok.
Oh, that's superb! Yeah.
Fighting their way through the heat barrier, and then taking on Bok right at the very end. Love it. That entire
Of course, we get the
season.
classic line there, chap with wings there, 5 rounds rapid from the brig, which is a brilliant line. And Nick delivers it in such a deadpan way. It's wonderful. Yeah.
He's at that point, he started just accepting this with a kind of like deep sigh of resignation, hasn't he?
It's that, here we go again. Yeah.
Completely. Which comes right the way out to the fore in Battlefield, of course. With Teflon tips go through a Dalek, and we've even got gold tipped once for you know who. It's. Yeah,
I love McCoy's line in that. When he says about the Teflon one, a non-stick bullet. I think that's brilliant. Lovely,
so we move on, and we've got UNIT against the Daleks.
Now that's a good. Although I know people complain about the fact it's only 3 Daleks, and the Daleks' tactics and the Ogrons' tactics aren't that military. But I love that sequence. That when they come through the tunnel with the shots of the gold Dalek, and it looks like there's probably about 8 Daleks, but there's only 3. Yeah. But it's kind of it's wonderfully. Some of it's wonderfully shot, and some of it's not. But it's lovely to see UNIT with the Daleks. So that's really good, isn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, in retrospect, they probably shouldn't have tried a wide shot with the Daleks in it, because then you can't mess it up. And they obviously learned lessons for when they got to Planet of the Daleks with the extra ones that they made that then served in various roles afterwards.
Even in Frontier in Space, when they do that lovely shot in Part 6, when they come across the top of the hill or top of the mountain, wherever it is, that's shot much better, and it's done by the same director, Paul Bernard, isn't it? So it's actually he's even learned from that, from the Day of the Daleks to that, to make that better. I think
that is, and I've tried to see and I thought my earliest memory might have been one of the Sea Devil repeats, not the original, but one of the Sea Devil repeats, because one was before Frontier 6. And the other one, I think, was after Frontier 6. And I think I saw Sea Devils meet one after. So the Daleks appearing on the ridge is my earliest memory of Doctor Who ever. I was an avid viewer then, but I cannot remember anything before. It's almost like there's a block, and I don't know why. I can remember that vividly. My memory cheats, of course, and I remember hundreds of Daleks down the line across the thing. So when I saw it years later on video, I was like, oh, right, it still looked good, but not a massive line of Daleks. But that's how it came across to a child's mind. Because I mean, at that point, March 73, I think that was. So, I was 6.5 then.
It's amazing that your imagination creates the other. I mean, it's the same with Day of the Daleks. I remember seeing bits of Day of the Daleks. It must have been the repeat I saw, but I do remember vividly the Radio Times that we had at the time. Unfortunately, my grandparents had a coal fire, and they used to use the Radio Times for kindling on the fire. I remember that went in there, gutted. Anyway, but that's when we didn't really worry so much about things being so collectible, did we? Really, to be honest, it wasn't quite so.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
But so Day of the Daleks with Yates is quite good in that. Actually, it's quite funny with his RHIP when he steals the wine and the cheese off of poor Benton. That's a lovely moment in that, don't you think?
And as far as the armed forces are concerned, absolutely accurate as well. 100%. 100%. Yeah.
I quite like when they did that in the Mark Gatiss episode with Peter Capaldi in the Ice Warriors. They did that gag again. RHIP and with one of the Victorian soldiers. I don't know if you remember that, but I quite like they did that. It's quite nice.
Yeah, vague memories of that. Vague, only vague. So we move on from Day of the Daleks, and where are we then with UNIT?
Well,
because we're a little bit off-world, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll go to Peladon. We mentioned Captain Yates and the date, as you mentioned already, with Joe, which never happened. And then we got the Sea Devils. Then we have go to Solos, and then we come back to Earth for the Time Monster, which I must admit I quite like the Time Monster. I guess I have a bad rep, but that's the last time the kind of UNIT family are kind of all together, isn't it? Including the Master and Joe, and obviously the rest of UNIT. I must admit that the cliffhanger, I think, is at Part 3. It still gets me when you think that Yates has been exploded by a doodle bug. It's a really quite a harrowing cliffhanger, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And at that point, so we're sort of like 1971, 72, aren't we? Yeah. We're around that. So probably 72, I think. And because it was very much we hadn't gone to the September to March at that point, had we? So it was very much start of the year. So it would have been 1972.
Yeah.
And you are 27 years or thereabouts since doodlebugs were actually dropping on London.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're not that far really from World War II, where because it was known as like the second Blitz really when they were doing V1s and V2s.
Yeah,
and they really were the first terror weapons. You know, I mean, London really the first, or England, particularly London, but England, you know, first country in the world to be bombarded with intercontinental ballistic missiles. You know, and bit of an accolade you'd rather not have. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, 27 years. So you go back now, that's the equivalent to 1998. So it's not that far away, really. So people would be seeing this doodlebug, and a lot of people watching that would remember the terror of hearing that noise and knowing when the engine cut off, that was when the danger was. Because you didn't know where it was
even if you weren't aware of that as a kid, like we were, I still think it's like, oh my God, what Yates is dead.
Yeah.
Because that's what it really was, that dramatic, you know.
Yeah.
And the Brigadier's concern from is really beautifully acted by Nick Courtney, that you can hear the real anguish in his voice when he's playing it, and it's beautifully done, you know.
So we go from where to where? Well, we go from there to
the Three Doctors. Yeah,
we do indeed.
And like we said, there's no sign of
gel guards.
Gel guards. There's no sign of Captain Yates in this, but we have Corporal Palmer, who's wonderful. I have to say. Oh, we missed out the female corporal in the Claws of Axos. We forgot about
her. We did, didn't we? Is she the same? We've missed Claws of Axos completely, haven't we? Shame on us. But was she the same corporal? Was she the same corp? Was it Corporal Bell? Because
Corporal Bell. She's in Mind of Evil and Claws of Axos. Yeah.
Good. Again, we've done a disservice there, because
she was quite a good character too. Because she had the wonderful line, didn't she, about weather conditions affecting the whole of the East Coast because of the spaceship and all that, and there's all the snow and sleet to cover for the continuity, which was beautiful, wasn't it?
That was thinking on their feet for that one, I think.
Yeah.
But wonderful. Yeah, how could we miss those stories? We're getting in this so much. It's easy to just step ahead all the time, isn't it? Then you come back to the wrong place. Yeah. But we're at Three Doctors, so Unit HQ itself goes through a black hole. Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah. And it's so top secret, they've got a big sign saying, keep out, unit headquarters. Yeah, there we are. They're good.
Wonderful stuff, isn't it?
Commander Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. Yeah. Here's his address as well, his phone number. Yeah.
And we're only supposed to be a top secret military installation, which is exactly what he says in that story, isn't it?
That's exactly. Yeah. Well, maybe I should change your advertising, I think. Yeah.
But to see Troughton's doctor in Pertwee's environment is really weird, but lovely at the same time. And it's at that point when the Brigadier sees them both together. I think that's where, if there was ever any semblance of doubt remaining from Spearhead from space, it's gone by this story. You know, he knows they're the same person.
Well, isn't before he sees them both together, when he comes. When they come at the TARDIS, when the creature's kind of the antimatter creature's kind of kicking off, and the second doctor said, "Look out, Brigadier!" and you see the Brigadier's almost double take of the fact. Yes, it's me. It's like, oh my God! It's what have you done? He can wear what face he likes. All that kind of stuff is brilliant. Really.
Yeah, and right at the end, splendid fellows.
Yeah,
all of them, or both of them, or whatever. There's a lot to remember from this. And of course, in some respects, it changed the lore of the series forever, didn't it? The Doctor could meet himself in earlier incarnations, and it's been drawn on ever since. I think you can forgive JNT for doing it a couple of times. Probably forgive him more for the 5 Doctors than the 2 Doctors. That was a bit indulgent, I think. Not that I'm complaining, because it was great to see Troughton and Jamie again, but a bit indulgent, but still done well all the same.
And at this stage as well, with Time Monster and 3 Doctors, this is when we're getting the more comedic brigadier who's a bit more, not quite military idiot, but he's a bit more kind of bumbling a bit in this, isn't he? A bit more kind of comic, which I quite like as well, you know.
I'm fairly sure that's Chroma.
Yeah, and all that stuff, and apparently he came out that line himself, which is wonderful. It's a great ad lib.
It shows that Nick Courtney fully understood that character and knew where that character was going, really. But so that's 3 Doctors, and then we're off again, aren't we? We're off in the TARDIS again,
off to Intermina, or on the way to Metabilis 3. Yeah, and then that's where Metabilis 3 started getting threaded into the narrative, wasn't it? And I loved all that. I loved that fact the Doctor was desperate to go there, and then look what happened. You know,
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I liked it in the book because when he needed to get there, following Sarah, Terrence Dicks had written in the book, because the Doctor had tried so hard, he had a special circuit that got the TARDIS. It was the one place he could be guaranteed of getting to.
Well, does he not say that himself? About it's wired into the coordinates or something like that, which is great. Yeah, I love it. I like that. Yeah.
But it is where it starts with Metabilis 3, isn't it? And then we've got Frontier in Space. We've got Planet of the Daleks, my favourite Dalek story, and then we've got an absolute banging classic, haven't we?
Yeah. The Green Death. Yeah.
The Green Death. A story that anybody that remembers Doctor Who from the 70s remembers the Green Death. It's
known as the one with the maggots. I think it's fondly remembered by.
That's the one.
Great. Yeah.
The one with the maggots. But unit soldiers, the unit helicopter chucking grenades out, trying to blow the maggots up.
Yeah.
But again,
there's a lovely bit, I think, as well. You know, in this that I think is it sounds like an ad lib that I think John Levine's got, and I think one of the soldiers is called Dix, obviously named after Terrence. It's like, get a move on, Dix, and he's coming to bring the explosives or whatever to help blow up the mine or whatever. And it's a lovely little in-joke, obviously naming the script editor, which is lovely, you know. Uncle Terrence, yeah.
It shows that they obviously had a good working relationship behind the camera as well, which we know that they did. But it's things like that where it really comes through, isn't it?
It's lovely,
a lovely unit story, wonderful unit story. And
it's definitely one of the most
regulars.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most emotive moments in Who when Joe leaves, and it's acted beautifully. I know I keep saying that, but it is, and it's the moment where the announce they're getting married as well is like Captain Yates' face, crestfallen face. He congratulates Dr. Jones first. He can't look at Joe. It's a lovely moment, and he looks really upset. You know what I mean?
Which a lot of kids watching it just wouldn't get that body language, would they? They wouldn't get that. But the fact that they did it anyway is... I love the way that he says, where the Doctor's just... He drinks the wine, he looks at the glass, puts it down, and goes. It is so poignant. I don't think we've ever had anything like that.
Joe's look to see him go as well is really nice too.
Yeah. But the way Cliff Jones said it, just stop off at Cardiff, get married, and it was just bonkers, absolutely bonkers, but so beautifully done. And it does, even now, it brings a lump to your throat. That Bessie driving away with the Doctor in the silhouette against the sunshine.
Yeah.
Which I think is a model shot, isn't it?
I don't think it is. I think it's really actually Bessie. Yeah. Because I remember
it's stunning, whatever it is. Yeah. It's stunning.
I remember either listening to the commentary or an interview with Michael Bryan, because he's another great director for Doctor Who, definitely, who went to do Blake 7 and stuff like that. But he I remember reading somewhere or hearing an interview that it took several takes to get it right, because they had to wait for the sunset to be in the right position. So they did do it actually for real.
Wonderful shot,
which is a great shot. Yeah, and I remember the bit prior to the Joe leaving, when they're setting the seeds in the story, where she's sitting up late before the maggot attacks in episode 3, I think it is, and the Doctor tries to stop Professor Jones, and Joe canoodling in the front room kind of thing and takes him away. That's a wonderful moment of, I'll stop this. You know, it's quite nice.
Pertwee's doing that purely for badness, isn't he?
Parental, yeah, it's lovely, yeah.
Purely for badness, but really, really funny. You can see what he's doing, and he's doing it on purpose, definitely.
Yeah. It's brilliant, yeah. But it makes the build up to the story, because it's really seeded in from the very start that Joe's leaving, and that's heartbreaking, you know, when that happens, you know, for the Doctor and for the audience, because Katie was brilliant as Joe, you know. So.
Yeah, definitely. But the book, Malcolm Hulke's novelization of that, where as the Doctor drives away, a single tear rolled down his 750-year-old face. Oh my God! It's just.
And see, that's when emotion works in the series. That's when it works, because it's done. It's not overdone. It's well acted. It's well performed. You believe in it. You relate to the characters. You're fond of the characters. It's not forced as it has been in recent years, because they claim that the classic series now isn't as emotional as the new series, which I completely disagree with. I think it's much more subtly emotional, without being overdone, and that's the way it should be.
Well,
you know,
they weren't making it for a mentally unstable small demographic, were they? They were making it for family entertainment, so that everybody could sit down and watch it, and they did it superbly. Like we've said, you know, the Mike Yates looking crestfallen. That would have passed. That would have certainly passed me by at the time.
But
you know, it doesn't pass me by now, because you're looking at it with different eyes, aren't you? But
it's like moments like even prior to that, things like Jamie and Victoria leaving in the War Games, or Jamie and Zoe leaving the War Games, or Victoria leaving Fury from the Deep. There are moments that like that are really. These are 3 or 4 moments where work really well when companions leave. You know, when companions have enough time to establish themselves, unlike some of the sort of season 3, season 4 companions who were there quite quickly. You know, and so there's lots of moments in Who. I mean, later on as well.
Go right back to Dalek Invasion of Earth again. Second time we've touched on it today. You know, you got Susan leaving. That would have been a shock for people at the time. And it was done with that lovely tracking shot and everything else, and that amazing for the era. You know, you're talking Christmas time, aren't you? 1964 into 65. And you've got Susan standing there, and the TARDIS disappears in front of her. You know, I mean, that's not an easy shot to achieve with the technology they had at the time, but they managed it. You know,
and that lovely shot of the key as well, just sitting there, that she's just dropped. You know, it's really nice.
And Ian and Barbara leaving as well, and everything. It's you know, it did do emotion, and it did it a lot better. Quite frankly, it did
more
it
subtly.
A lot better. Yeah, definitely. So we've got the Time Warrior, the Sontarans, UNIT, and are in it at the start, and then not much at all.
But again, it's a bit like Calling Space, isn't it? You've got the Brigadier kind of beginning and the end almost. That's not even the end, just the beginning actually. We did it part 1. So
you got the UNIT soldier taking a pot shot at the silhouette of Lynx. Wonderful creature, Lynx. Wonderful.
Never been bettered, in my opinion.
No, Lynx. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And then we've got Invasion of the Dinosaurs.
And of course, not to gloss over Sarah joining as well, but
no, don't want to gloss over that at all. But,
and Invasion of Dinosaurs, another one which is a great plot for Captain Yates, and it exposed his character a bit more. He's on the side of the baddies. Well, not he's on the baddies, but he's misguided. Let's put it that way.
He's misguided, isn't he? Yeah, because he still goes out of his way to save the Doctor's life with the sabotage gun, the stun gun, and everything. And but lots of action of UNIT soldiers fighting dinosaurs, which aside from UNIT soldiers fighting Cybermen, Yeti, or Daleks, dinosaurs. Who doesn't love seeing dinosaurs?
Exactly.
Even those, which at the time you didn't clock how, as a child, you didn't clock how naff they were. That scene where Sarah's taking photos of the T-Rex and it's chained up and it's woken up. That is one of the most scary things as a kid in 1973, 74 that I ever saw. Because this was 1974 now, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. It still gives me.
So there were some moments where the dinosaur, I think, actually quite good. There's a bit where when Yates is trying to set the Doctor up by sabotaging his stun gun, there's a couple of great shots of the T-Rex's head, and it's superb. really good.
You see that when it's laid down as well, and I think I used a shot of that. I used a shot of that in the Pertwee feature in our Whose Views annual from last Christmas, still available. Go download it now if you haven't done already. Because that close up of the close up model of the head itself, with the eyes moving and everything, is really, really good. Really good. But
I'm hoping when we eventually get season 11, they may do some work on the dinosaurs. I do hope so. That'd be good if they did. That'd make it. It's a great story, let down sometimes by some not so great effects, but you can gloss over that. But if they redo a special edition of it, that'd be really good if they did.
As optional extras.
Yes.
Because you always want it in its original format anyway.
Nothing replaces it. It's just an option. You're right. I was going to say the Invaders Dinosaurs is a great moment for Benton when he gets to punch General Finch. I love John Levine's reaction to that, and he gets into trouble from the Brigadier. Don't make a habit of it, Benton. Yeah. Yeah. But
so
John Levine gets, before we get Planet, John Levine gets a lot of that kind of. I love that line in Time Monster. I meant to mention there. The resourceful Sergeant Benton. All that lovely stuff. Nice, love all that. Nice.
They obviously all liked him, didn't they? And they were quite. I think they were aware that he was perhaps less confident as an actor. That they probably were. They were more seasoned, so they would know that they had carte blanche to throw things like that in. Probably,
but I think he did a great job for someone who wasn't a trained actor. I think he did really well considering his acting background. I think he does a great job, to be honest.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. So we're on Planet of the Spiders. I nearly originally said Planet of the Daleks because I'm just going back to my favourite again. But we're on Planet of the Spiders,
you can't have it twice in the next season. Although having a Dalek story to end on Pertwee would be quite good. It would have been quite good. Yeah.
It would have been. Yeah. But if Terrence Dicks had done another Dalek story for John Pertwee, it would have been Genesis of the Daleks.
That's true.
And that has to be Tom Baker. It just has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be Tom with Sarah and Harry. It really does. But Planet of the Spiders, very odd because there's not many unit soldiers around. It's like everybody's off on holiday.
Yeah.
Like the Brigadier's accidentally given them all the day off. So
apart from Benton, who's seems to be he's locked in a cupboard and he gets opened up every time there's a soldier around. Yeah.
But we have, of course, that fantastic car chase, which isn't really a unit thing in the sense that, well, it is in a way because it's got the Brigadier and Sergeant Benton, but it was Pertwee being given his indulgences, wasn't it?
I love that line though when the Brigadier's trying to stop Lupton and stop Brigadier, you'll damage my car. It's like I love it, yeah. Right, so.
But they're all clambering around Bessie, aren't they? And then they go off into the gyrocopter. Wonderful stuff. You're watching that back in 1974. You don't clock the CSO fringing around the edge, do you? It's just really enjoyable stuff.
And of course, you've got the Doctor's new car, both in Invasion of Dinosaurs and this, the Who-mobile, which has often been described as a futuristic Reliant Robin, which is a good way to describe it.
But of course, in Invasion of the Dinosaurs, it had the temporary windshield, didn't it?
Yes, that's right.
It didn't have its flip-up one or anything like that, which it clearly needed when it was going to fly, which was...
I adore the policeman's reaction to it in this as well. I don't feel very well.
What about Lupton's, though, where he's going across in the gyrocopter and then he does the double take as he sees the Who-mobile flying in as well? Wonderful stuff.
Yeah,
wonderful.
Funny stuff, yeah.
And poetic and quite right that the Doctor, Third Doctor, disappears from our lives on the floor of his lab in UNIT.
And that's beautifully performed. But one thing in the story I meant to mention before we get to the regeneration is this story, which always sticks out in my mind when I watch it, is you get the first mention of Harry Sullivan in episode 2 with the coffee, before he gets the coffee, and he's on the phone. The Doctor's just been looking into the crystal, and he's a bit stunned, and they can't bring him back round. And then Benton comes to the coffee, but before the coffee, the Brigadier's on the phone calling the medical officer, and it's Sullivan gets mentioned early on in that story. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Did one of the books, was it a book where it referred to the unit doctor as being Dr. Sweetman?
It may have been, yeah.
I think it was the book that referred to Sweetman, but that is lovely continuity into what was actually another series with another production crew, really.
Yeah.
Although it was pretty much handover, wasn't it, with Robot? But there we are. We're then into Robot. We've got a real good, full-blooded unit story, haven't we? They're storming an armed bunker. They're doing their sci-fi equivalent of the fight with King Kong.
Yeah. And it feels, I don't know if you feel the same with it, but it does feel a bit like a John Pertwee story, doesn't it? It feels like a Pertwee story rather than a Baker story. I know it's the first one for, a bit in the same way, I suppose, that Spearhead feels a bit like a Troughton story a little bit, in some respects. Because it's such early on in the run. But it really feels that if they took Tom out and put John in, it would have been fine. You know what I mean? Apart from the generation parts of it. You know what I mean? But,
yeah. I can't imagine Pertwee for a second nipping in and out of the TARDIS as a Viking and a clown. Can you really? Yeah. Although it would probably look quite funny. We'll have to see what AI can generate for that one. That'd be quite interesting. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm tempted.
I have seen people do AI of William Hartnell on the Five Doctors, which is really odd. I don't know if you've seen that on YouTube. That's really weird. Yeah,
I haven't actually.
Yeah,
no.
They put Hartnell's face on Hundle, and he delivers the lines as Hundle delivered, but they've played about with it, so it sounds like Hartnell. It's just really odd. Really, it's nightmarish, to be honest. Yeah.
This is the thing with AI, isn't it? It's opening a whole can of worms, really. Whole can of worms.
Definitely. Yeah.
But after Robot, we don't see U.N.I.T until Terror of the Zygons.
That's right. Yeah.
And the man from Web of Fear.
Yes, whose name escapes me now. I've forgotten the actor's name, but yeah. But I love that fact that Camfield recast people and got them back like a rep company. That's really nice. Like a lot
I think directors often did that, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
Directors often did that, and with good reason. If they knew that they could get a performance out of an actor, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not one of those situations where you always have to put it out to a fresh tender.
And that's when they used to have casting would be done by the directors rather than a strict casting director, like they did on the Paul McGann TV movie with John Hubbard, for instance. So it wasn't like that. It was something you knew. You'd worked with them before, either in the theatre or another TV show, whatever, and that's how you cast them. Yeah.
Have you met Paul McGann?
I have met Paul McGann. Yes, oh, just once. Yes. Did I tell you that? Did I tell you that before? No.
I'd heard rumours, but I wasn't 100% sure.
I must admit, so much so, because I've mentioned so many times, if he comes again to another Comic-Con locally, I'll be going to see him again, to be honest, because I really enjoyed meeting him. He was a nice guy. So, yeah.
Yeah, get more photos, definitely.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
So, Terror of the Zygons, lovely unit story, really. We have them depths charging the lake, don't we? We have them depths charging Loch Ness, allegedly.
Yeah.
That wonderful shot of the spaceship coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Which meets one of the best visual effects explosions in the series ever. That's a wonderful explosion of the Zygon spaceship.
Yeah.
It's great. U.N.I.T's taken over that village, haven't they? Sarah gets the soldiers running when she's chasing Harry and everything. And then they're gone from us for quite some time, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, and before we go on to the next little link of unit, I have to say that Ian Marter's Harry Sullivan in this story playing the two versions is really creepy as the Zygon version. Great performance, and Harry should get more praise than he does, because I adore Harry. I think he's a great character. I wish he was more often. Yeah.
I am with you on that 100%. Ian Marter's loss was tragic. He was taken decades before his time.
Yeah,
and I was shocked when the news came through. In the 80s when he passed, and absolute tragic. Excuse me. And I love the character of Harry Sullivan.
Yeah.
I really do. And he's a good actor, because obviously he was in Carnival of Monsters as well as obviously somebody else. But
apparently he was up and running for Mike Yates originally, wasn't he? Apparently,
was he?
Apparently between him and Ian Marter originally, and Ian Marter couldn't do it, and I think. Then Richard Franklin was available, and then he got the job. I don't think he was second choice, but he was in the running between the two.
Right.
Okay. So yeah.
Oh, that would have been an interesting take, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But Ian Marter though. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the season 13 documentary about him that's coming out in the box set. That'll be superb. Looking forward to that.
You see, I wasn't aware too much of what was coming out in that box set. I was just about to say, I hope there's some suitable tribute to him. So I'm glad that there's obviously going to be, because there needs to be.
It appears to be made up partly of interviews with people, but certainly interviews with him from various conventions and things in the States and stuff like that. So there could be some lovely, nice footage of actually him, which I'm looking forward to. Really nice.
Good, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. So we've got Android Invasion, which is a bit of an oddity, isn't it, really? Because technically it's not really UNIT at all, is it?
Well, we've got Benton and we've got Harry, but there's no Brigadier. Without the Brigadier, it doesn't feel right, does it? Let's be honest. You know? No, it doesn't. It doesn't, and it's probably best glossed over. Nice little story in its own right, a nice little vignette, but they're androids at the end of the day, aren't they? Yeah. And Colonel Faraday is no replacement for the Brigadier, is he? Let's be honest. But,
No. But we've got Seeds of Doom.
Now, apparently, going back with Android Invasion and Seeds of Doom, apparently I think Nick Courtney was asked to come back, but he couldn't because he was in a play or something, and that's why he wasn't in either of the stories, I believe.
Wasn't he in the Mousetrap for a very long time?
He maybe the Mousetrap or another play with Tony Britton, and he played a German officer in that one. Eventually, he played an army officer, and then he played a German officer. And according to the documentary that's on the I can't remember which season it is now. The one that's got the Brigadier documentary, the Nexus Courtney documentary on it. I can't remember which one that one was.
Okay.
Maybe season 7 actually. It's on that one, I think. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But Seeds of Doom though, Douglas Camfield again, an absolute classic. There is no doubt about this. This is one of the all-time. It's a 6-parter that does not lag at all.
Yeah.
There is no dull pause. There's no sort of like episode 3 where it treads water for a little bit. There's none of that. You've got basically a 2-parter and a 4-parter.
Yeah.
And the 2-parter is wonderfully tight. It's scary. It's tense. With that end where Sarah's tied to that pipe and the crinoid creature comes in. It's terrifying. Yeah. And then, of course, I'd not clocked at the time as a kid watching this. So when we got to the end of that episode and the base blew up, I thought that was it. And then, of course, I remembered there's another 4 episodes to go. I was so pleased.
Yeah.
And then you've got Harrison Chase. What a villain.
Oh, yeah.
What a villain. And Scorby, what a henchman.
Yeah.
And Keeler,
the explosion at the end of part 2, going on that special effect, the explosion of the base is almost as good as the explosion of the Zygon spaceship, isn't it? It's really, really well done.
Yes. Yes, it really is. It's a wonderful explosion. It's almost like cinema. It's the kind of thing you would have seen at the cinema at the time.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah. Really, really good. But then they come back, don't they? And we've got UNIT eventually turning up with their laser gun.
Yeah, I mean, with UNIT in this story, it could be just the army, couldn't it? Let's be honest. It doesn't feel. It's like we've come full circle, going back to the War Machines again, isn't it? To be honest, but they're not really UNIT anymore because there's not any recognizable people in it. You know?
No,
what I mean?
there isn't. There isn't.
Which is a shame.
And there's a sergeant that gets fed into the compost machine, isn't there? And everything, and it's you're just glad that, in a way, you're glad that isn't anybody that you know. Really, at that point, they were the equivalent of the red shirts in Star Trek, weren't they?
Kind of, really? Definitely, yeah.
And then UNIT are gone for quite some time, aren't they?
Yeah. Because even when the Brig comes back in Modern Undead, UNIT's not really touched on. And the Brig's there, but he's not a teacher. And then we've touched on UNIT dating, which is all over the place. Sergeant Benton being a second-hand car salesman sounds perfect for Benton, to be fair. But,
Harry Sullivan doing something hush-hush at Porton Down. I could believe that.
Yeah. I could believe that, definitely. Yeah. And then we get to the 5 Doctors. You do have a little bit of UNIT. You have Colonel Crichton and the Sergeant as well, who's at the UNIT HQ.
Colonel Crichton, of course, being Carstairs from the War Games.
Yeah, and the scientist in Claws of Axos as well. Yeah. So,
absolutely. That one I did not know. So, you got me
there. Yeah. He's the one who remember the one who he tries to get the doctor to. The doctor tries to put the axonite in the light accelerator, and he's the one who has a fit, and he gets killed. Remember? So,
just for a change. So
Just
yeah, we
rotate,
see a bit of UNIT, don't we? We see
Yeah.
we see the intercom with the power up noise for the old BBC microcomputer. Which is what that is, and that's pretty much it, isn't it? After that,
but you got a wonderful line though. The Troughton says, "Are you're his replacement? Mine was pretty unpromising too," which is great. I love all that.
I read it in the Times. You can't have done. The reporter's already here, or the reporter's still here. Tomorrow's Times.
Those times, yeah, lovely stuff. Yeah. And then, of course, we have Battlefield in season 26 when we get the bring back kind of for the final time. Well, not the final time. There's 2 more occasions where he pops back, actually, depending on your canon. I'm just saying that just to wind JT up, to be fair. But so Battlefield.
Steady on. We have somebody that we need to get well. We don't need to give him palpitations.
But I think he'd appreciate a little tease, I think, to be honest. But yeah.
Of course he would.
Yeah. So yeah. But the so Battlefield we have the Brigadier back. It looks like he could be his last mission. Is he going to die? But he doesn't, luckily. And
they were going to, weren't they? They were going to go there, weren't they?
Yeah. I'm
glad
they
didn't.
And then we have the kind of international members of UNIT, like Zabegnev, and there's a Polish character as well. I think they're evacuating the pub, and I think there's a Polish soldier as well. I forgot his name.
Yeah, and
it's a Major Husak. It's a Major Husak, I think it may be. Yeah,
that's right. But the pilot, the helicopter pilot that was killed by Morgaine. I was quite sad when she died. Actually,
it was very sad. Yeah.
I was of a suitable age at that point to think she's rather cute, and she
was
died.
Quite pretty, yes.
Yeah, and an excellent helicopter pilot, but because I think she spoke with an accent as well, so she was probably they were really going to town to show that this was an international organization.
Yeah,
and again, it was responsible for transporting a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
So shades of Mind of Evil on that one. With
I'm surprised they got recommissioned to do that after Mind of Evil. To be fair, but yeah. Get someone else. Get Group 4 or something to do it instead. Securicore. They'll do it much better. Yeah.
Securicore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But some good battles.
Yeah.
A good bit of unit action and everything else, and the Brigadier turning up with his, as we've already said, his bullets with Teflon tips that go through a Dalek.
The battle with the Knights and UNIT is really good as well. Some of the stunts are quite good as well. With tipping, doing some great throws and jumps and things. Yeah, superb.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and the Destroyer.
Oh, the Destroyer. Fantastic makeup. Yeah.
So underused, criminally underused, because that Destroyer costume was incredible, absolutely incredible. They could have done so much more with that, but then it's got all this power, and she breaks its chains so it's free, and the Brigadier just dispatches it. Risks his life. He gets hurled through that window. You genuinely think he's dead, and the Doctor's lamenting him at that point, isn't he? He's eulogizing over what he thinks is the dead Brigadier. You were supposed to die in bed.
Yeah,
was what he said, wasn't it?
They really set it up, don't they? It's kind of doom laden from the start, and you think he is going to die. And I'm glad they didn't kill him off because he's such a great character. But I think Nick Courtney is as strong in this as he was back in the Invasion. He is.
And very sort of like wry sense of humor. He just like, really, okay, But I like the fact that he's kept Bessie as well. He's kept Bessie because he always knew the Doctor would come back at some point. Obviously, hasn't kept the Whomobile, but he's kept Bessie. So
we had to balance the book somewhere. He probably sold it. But we've
got it on display at Bewley.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're renting it out to people. It's fine. But we kind of glossed over a little bit about Doris in this because I'd love to see him with Doris in this, and we forgot to mention the moment in Planet of Spiders where Professor Clegg takes his watch and. It was given to you as a thank you for, that's plenty. That lovely moment when he's very embarrassed about his dirty weekend in Brighton. Superb stuff. Love you.
Yeah, outrageous stuff.
Yeah.
For the 1970s. Oh, that was
superb. Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that she's there and they're obviously married at this point and they're very happy and stuff like that, and doing the garden. They're in a garden centre. How very suburban, but lovely house that he's got. You can land a helicopter in the garden and everything. And wonderful,
so
wonderful.
Clearly he got a good pension from UNIT, and obviously from his teaching pension as well, probably that he got from Turlo's school. But
you think all the stuff that he did, saving the world, he deserved a damn good payoff, didn't he? Really, for all of that. He definitely deserved that. So
he could have made made money from the Who-mobile, like you said, if he sold that, and that's maybe what happened. So.
But the doctor thinks he's dead, and then the brigadier just coughs and wakes up, and the doctor just pushes him on the ground and says, "I thought you were dead."
Yeah,
love it.
I'm very fond of Battlefield. We have covered it already, haven't we? One of our reviews, so I'm quite fond of that story. So it's a little bit of a gem and underrated as far as I'm concerned, to be honest.
Yeah, and good to see that Battlefield was expunged from the top or the bottom rated stories. So if we thank Gatwa for anything, we can thank him for that.
Taking all look back at Bedweir's stats about that, just to prove that Battlefield is much better than any of Gatwa's rubbish. Just look back at one of our shows. But going back to our final classic appearance of going forward rather to the Brigadier is of course Dimensions in Time. I'll get my quote. But if you believe Dimensions in Time is a canon, according to Russell, it is, because it was in the Reality War, a couple of shots of the Rani from Dimensions in Time. But
he's a buffoon who knows nothing.
True, yeah. So I can't give him credit for that, but I'm going to give him credit on this one occasion just to make it convenient for me to mention Dimensions in Time. But so it's lovely.
If it makes you happy, mate.
It does make me happy, yeah. So the fact that the Brigadier met the Sixth Doctor in that episode really made my day. That was wonderful, it really was. I know he meets up later in Big Finish, etc., but it was lovely to see him on camera for that tiny wee scene in the helicopter.
Yeah.
I just got Captain Yates came back as well in that one too, so we had a bit more unit action.
Yeah. No, that's right. I mean, so he acted with Hartnell. And he appeared with the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh Doctors. Wonderful stuff. Yeah. But then, fitting for such a great actor and such a lovely man.
Yeah.
Such a lovely man. But,
and then they gave him a knighthood in the new series, and he met Sarah Jane in one of the Sarah Jane episodes, and he was Sir Alistair Lethbridge Stewart, which was lovely to give him a knighthood because that's what he deserved. In fact, in real life, he should have got knighthood as well. So I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And the book, one of the last Virgin New Adventures, The Dying Days, with the Cyberman, with the Ice Warriors, the Paul McGann novel. It's Paul McGann's Doctor in The Dying Days. Yeah. And the Brigadier right at the end, they're having some kind of Thanksgiving service or something in church or a cathedral somewhere, and the Brigadier's laughing, and it refers to him as General Lethbridge Stewart.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, and of course he met Paul McGann in Minuet in Hell, the Big Finish story as well, which is great. So they're good. That was a proper performance with the two together too, which is lovely. Yeah,
he had the dial-up modem in that, didn't he?
So he did. Of course, he was in Zagreus, wasn't he, as well? But not playing the Brigadier.
It was a TARDIS voice, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah. So
that was when Big Finish started really disappearing up its fundamental orifice.
yeah.
Last
so
unit.
That would lead us beautifully into a possible part 2, if we have to, looking at Unified Intelligence Task Force that came back in I think it was Aliens of London when the new series came back. We had UNIT, so that's a possible other.
We'll look at that, won't we? With massive enthusiasm.
We will. We'll have to rack our brains to remember a bloody thing about it, but we'll worth a try.
Well, yes. I remember more about the Doctor Who Weekly Unit Club, where you had the little code book and everything. I've still got that somewhere, so dig that out at some point. But
the Sugar Smacks badges you got with Sugar Smacks, you got a little unit badge as well. That's what you want.
Yeah, they're collectible, proper collectibles, aren't they? Do you have a favourite unit story, Paul? I mean, I'll be good to you. I'll say, do you have a favourite Troughton, and do you have a favourite Pertwee, and do you have a
Well,
favourite Baker?
If we're going to make it in terms of actual unit, I would say Web of Fear was my favourite Nick Courtney
We can
appearance.
include that as a unit. We can include that as a unit.
I'd probably be Web of Fear, closely followed by, really closely followed by, in fact, almost the same place, Invasion. They're my two favourites, really, because they're almost inseparable, to be honest. It's a hard one because in Pertwee's time, there's so many good ones in Pertwee's era that I like for different reasons. For for the story itself, or the brigadier or the unit characters doing something different. But I'm a huge fan of Silurians. I think that's superb, and the ending of it is superb. The brigadier blowing up the Silurians. The brigadier is so almost not a character, but he's a bit of a swine because he's doing what he's told by the government, and that's
and he's definitely trying to get the doctor to leave, isn't he? Thank you. Off you go. Thank you.
Yeah, and then the doctor really doesn't forgive him for that, but it's a lovely moment, and it's very, very, very he's being led by he's doing what he's told, he's following orders, which I think, although the brigadier is kind of very much that's the way his mind thinks, he's more literal, you know what I mean? He would wipe out the Silurians quite easily without talking to them. Where the doctor's different, he would reason with them, trying to revive them, as he said, all that kind of stuff. So he was following orders, but that's a great story. It's probably my favourite straight story. Favourite performance of Nick in probably 70s Doctor Who is probably his performance in The Three Doctors, which I adore. Him and Troughton together are wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
And the Five Doctors as well, obviously, together. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I have got to say, Web of Fear is very close, but it's Invasion for me with Troughton.
Yeah.
And although I clearly think Spearhead is the best Doctor Who story ever, and certainly the best Pertwee, for UNIT, it's not, because it's not the core unit. For me, it's the demons.
Right.
So you've got the regular characters, but they're out of their familiar. You've got Benton and Yates in civvies. The brigadier's having to make his own way down there in the staff car and all that faffery around with the heat barrier and everything. I love all of that.
Yeah.
And I just love it. And obviously with Tom Baker, you've not got much to choose from, Robot or
the Zygons, probably. Yeah, Zygons. Yeah,
probably the Zygons for me.
Yeah, me too.
But a wonderful creation anyway. That's given decades of enjoyment, really.
Oh yeah,
the concept of UNIT. Yeah. So good that, believe it or not, they ripped it off multiple times over, just like they have so much else, really.
Yeah, and so much so they're getting a spin-off series, which I'm so looking forward to.
Yeah, that was heavily trailed and is now put back for a year.
Yeah.
Let's not sully classic UNIT with any comment of that.
Yes, let's not.
No.
We'll have more of that sullying later on if we do a part 2 of UNIT for the new series.
Oh, we can sully away at that.
We will
definitely.
do. We probably will as well. Yeah, it won't be as positive as this video was, I have to say.
But it will. This will be treated with the appropriate level of respect that it deserves. Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that's us then, Paul. Don't you?
I think it is. Yeah. Thank you very much. I enjoyed that conversation.
I hope people haven't got bored. Sorry, it's a pre-record. Really am. But hope you've enjoyed that, and better than nothing.
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so until next time, following Sunday should be alive, shouldn't it? That's what we're aiming for, isn't it?
So that's what we're aiming for, but we'll stay tuned. We'll keep you posted. Yeah.
Yeah, stay tuned. Who said that before? I've heard that from someone before.
Let me think. I don't know. Someone. I think probably JT, to be honest.
More than likely nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah.
So until then, or until something else drops, keep an eye. Thank you for all the subs. Please like, share, and if you aren't already, subscribe. And if you are, tell your friends and your auntie and your uncle and your dog. Get them to subscribe too. And aside from that, all I can say is the usual with us. It's a good night from me.
And it's a good night from him.
Good night.
Good night.